Luxury Auto 1 brings you stories that stir the heart, challenge expectations, and inspire deeper truths. In a world where appearance and status rule everything, sometimes, the most unexpected moments reveal what truly matters. It was a spring morning of 2025 when Amara stood on the back patio of her soon-to-be husband's estate, watching the breeze tug gently at the white silk of her engagement dress. She had been quiet for the past hour, ever since the conversation with his mother, one that had left her heart cracked and confused. The Harringtons were old money. Preston Harrington III was a successful investment banker with charm, pedigree, and a last name that came with a literal crest. His mother, Veronica Harrington, carried herself like royalty and saw their lineage as sacred. Amara was no stranger to high expectations. She had graduated summa cum laude from NYU, held a law degree from Columbia, and ran a successful non-profit for underprivileged girls in Atlanta. But none of that seemed to matter when it came to Veronica. Because Amara was black, and because Amara had grown up in the foster system, with no known father and a mother who had died before she could form memories. They met in law school, Amara and Preston. What started with study sessions and debates turned into late-night walks and whispered dreams. He loved her mind, her ambition, and the way she never tried to impress him with anything other than her truth. But love, as Amara would learn, didn't always silence prejudice. The day before their wedding, Veronica requested a private meeting. Amara didn't expect a warm welcome, but she certainly didn't expect this. A thick manila envelope containing a prenuptial agreement and a subtle but sharp demand. Just a formality, Veronica had said with a smile so tight it could cut glass. "I'm sure a woman of your background understands." Her background. That word echoed like thunder in her ears. "I'm marrying your son, not robbing your family," Amara had replied. But Veronica didn't budge. "Then you'll have no issue signing it." Amara had every legal right to refuse. She had her own assets. But that wasn't the point. The insult wasn't about legality. It was about legacy. Her legacy, or what Veronica assumed she lacked. Amara didn't cry. She didn't shout. She simply nodded and left the room, carrying the document under her arm and a sting in her heart. That night, she called the one person she had recently reconnected with, Mr. Elias Mercer, an older man who claimed to be her biological father. Their connection had only just begun, a series of letters and quiet meetups away from headlines and attention. Elias had shared little, only that he had searched for her for years and finally found her through a DNA database. He was quiet on the phone as she explained what happened. Then, with the voice of a man used to commanding boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, he said just one thing. "I'll be at the wedding." No one knew he was coming, least of all Preston, and certainly not Veronica. The ceremony was flawless. Floral arrangements designed to resemble Versailles, 100 guests in tuxedos and gowns, a world that sparkled on the surface. Then came the reception. It was during the toast that Elias Mercer stood. No one recognized him. A tall, sharp-suited black man with silver at his temples and presence that made the room fall silent. He introduced himself simply. "I'm Elias Mercer, Amara's father." Veronica's eyes narrowed. Preston froze mid-sip, and Amara, she stared as her father walked to the front, took the mic from the best man, and faced the crowd with the poise of someone used to commanding attention. "I wasn't in my daughter's life when she was young. That's my favorite, and I own it. But I'm here, now, and what many of you don't know is that I'm also the founder and majority owner of Mercer Technologies." Gasp. Veronica's champagne flute slipped slightly in her hand. Mercer Technologies was a name no one missed. The AI and quantum computing company had just closed a multi-billion-dollar contract with NASA and had investments in 3 continents. "Last month," he continued, "I signed over 40% of my equity for Amara. She is now the second largest shareholder in a company valued at $8.7 billion. That's $3.5 billion in assets she now controls. She didn't ask for it. She didn't even know, but she deserves it. Not for marrying into wealth, but because she is wealth." In spirit, in strength, and in truth. The room was dead quiet. Veronica looked as if the earth had opened beneath her. Preston stepped forward, eyes wide with disbelief. Amara stood slowly, locking eyes with her father, unsure whether to run to him or collapse from shock. But Elias wasn't done. I heard someone insisted on a prenuptial agreement. And I respect that. So I'll be having my lawyers review it. I assume the Harringtons will also be happy to sign one. For Amara's protection. And with that, he handed a duplicate prenup contract back to Veronica. It was the ultimate reversal. Later that evening, after the guests had trickled out, Veronica approached Amara alone. Her tone was different now, measured, almost brittle. You could have told us, she said. Amara looked her in the eye. You didn't ask. Preston was silent most of the night, but as the stars filled the sky and the music faded, he found her on the balcony, hands wrapped around a glass of untouched wine. I'm sorry, he said. Are you? She replied. He nodded. Not just for what my mother did. For not stopping it. Amara sighed. I didn't need you to stop it. I needed you to see it. They stood in silence. Then, she whispered, you know the part that hurts the most. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to be seen as equal. Not a threat. Not a charity case. Preston swallowed. And now, I don't know, she said. But I'm not going to apologize for who I am. Not anymore. He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. But she didn't say anything either. The marriage moved forward. But the power dynamic had shifted. And Amara had stepped into her full strength. Not because of the billions, but because of the boundary she set and the silence she refused to accept. Today, Amara Mercer Harrington runs the philanthropic arm of Mercer Technologies, donating millions to uplift young girls from underserved communities. Veronica Harrington, now publicly supportive, never again questioned her daughter-in-law's worth. And as for Elias, he visits often, quietly proud of the daughter who needed no saving, but changed everything when the world least expected it. Because sometimes, the biggest shock isn't the fortune someone hides, it's the strength someone reveals. Luxary Auto One brings you stories that remind us, respect isn't inherited. It's earned. And when you underestimate someone, be ready for the moment they rise, and you're left speechless.